Gentlemen, just when you thought the man was gone, just when you thought the man was done for the day, like in the great words of Vince McMahon, not tonight, pal, not tonight, not tonight, tomorrow night, or any other night. It is your boy Lewis Basketball Network, man, back once again with another video, with another banger. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as you come in, man. Just when you think it's over, I continue to provide the content, as I always try to do for you guys on this wonderful late Monday afternoon. How's everybody doing? I know that I did a stream just like about an hour or two ago, but I am once again back. And if you see, man, once again, you're finally back at work, Freddie? Oh, man, damn. Okay, well, salute to you, brother, man. I hope you're getting that payday, man. Hope you're doing your thing at work. But awesome. Thank you for streaming into the channel. And listen, title of this video is Teams from the Past that would dominate in today's game, and we're doing all-time playoff matchups. So, like I said, man, I am back. Okay, I don't rest. I don't stop. I never settle, man. Keep the grind, keep the hustle, bro. You already know how I am, man. So this is all-time great teams. This is about, again, teams from the past that would dominate today. I want you guys to know, and I want to hear from you guys. Teams from the past. You know, because a lot of guys have been talking about today that they don't like the way that the NBA is today with the rule changes and some of the teams and some of the players in today's game taking advantage of the rules, and it doesn't make the basketball games fun. I mean, you know, so ask yourselves, let me know. You know, I'm even surprised, Freddie, that you even was able to catch it, knowing that you don't really catch it at work. So, like, salute to you for even checking in, bro. But you can always check in later if you're not able to, be able to check the stream if you're, busy at work. But I still appreciate you for, coming back in, even though it's like, again, your boy Lewis Basketball Network comes with the surprises, man. Man said, let me hit you with that confetti real quick. Poof, 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 poof. Like it's a happy new year, man, right? But like I said, I want to know, like, what are your all-time, teams that you think will make great playoff matchups historically? And then again, give me a breakdown. And same thing, like what teams from the past do you think would dominate in today's NBA? If there's one team that comes to mind, and this team gets very disrespected a lot because they always keep talking about that this team is a full of bunch of old plumbers when it had came to the conversation between Jordan and LeBron. But this team gets a lot of disrespect. And the team that I'm talking about is two of the 50 greatest players in NBA history. Played together for what, 18 seasons together? And the thing that I'm talking about is the Utah Jazz. John Stockton and Karl Malone. Oh man, okay. So you're in the military? Yo, man, shout out to you, man. Like, yo, doing your thing up there, man, for the armed forces, and didn't know that. That's something good to know, Freddie. As you mentioned that. So, shout out to you. Hope you're staying safe out there. At least you're in a chill moment, so I understand that. But like I was saying, man, about the Utah Jazz, I hate the fact that they get so disrespected that they wouldn't dominate today's game just because Stockton and Malone, they look real slow. And Jeff Hornacek, that team wasn't all that great. Michael Jordan was on record as saying that the Utah Jazz were his toughest opponent when they faced each other in back-to-back finals. And, it just bugs me that they're just disrespecting Karl Malone and John Stockton like they were a bunch of nobodies, man. This is a team, ladies and gentlemen. This is a team. Like, let's go to the 1997 and 98 seasons when these guys were pretty much older. Productive, but older. Not, like, quite necessarily in their prime. Shout out to you, Freddie. Back love to you. Love is all back. Appreciate the love and the love right back. No doubt, man. Doing your thing for the armed forces, man. Be safe out there, man. Like I said, we appreciate your service, man. Serving the military, serving us, man. People don't understand how difficult that is. Ooh, I like that. Malone maybe not as athletic as he was like in his younger days, but Steve Nash and Amari, that's a nice little combination, man. I kind of like that right there, because Stockton and Malone were known for the devastating P&R, as I like to call. No, I'm not talking about Puerto Rico. No, I'm talking about the pick and roll. Puerto Rico, great country, by the way. but I'm talking about the devastating pick and roll. Doug Collins, if for those who know Doug Collins, has always talked about Stockton and Malone in such a very array of light. He always said, as Stockton and Malone got older and they spent more years together playing, he said, Stockton and Malone have seen just about every kind of defense they've seen in their careers. You know the pick and roll is coming. Can you stop it? And the answer is no. Teams in the NBA have never really been able to stop their pick and roll because they did different types of pick and roll. Okay? It would be where Malone would do a pick and he would do anything kind of like a slip screen and would slide to the basket or roll to the basket. Or he would set a pick, Stockton would go around it, and Karl Malone would get to an open area where he could hit a jump shot. Or they would set a pick where Stockton would get Malone to a position where he could get himself into a post up. And John Stockton would slip and cut to the basket. And Freddie G just nailed it on the head. And this is what they don't get a lot of credit for. And once again, shout out to Jerry Sloan because he's one of the greatest basketball minds in NBA history. 1,000+ coaching victories, made 2 NBA Finals appearances with the Utah Jazz, coached the Utah Jazz his entire career. Their basketball IQ was top notch. It was off the charts. What did Phil Jackson say in many interviews when he started to coach the Lakers? And he noticed it even at the time with the Chicago Bulls. If there was one team that Phil Jackson would always try to avoid, it was the Utah Jazz. Because let's be honest about the Los Angeles Lakers. I know people get on Kobe as to say that he had Shaq. But if we're being really honest, the Los Angeles Lakers that won 3 straight titles from 2000 to 2002, those teams had some of the lowest basketball IQ I've ever seen on a championship team. I'm being really honest. Because when we look at all-time teams, Kobe and Shaq had the talent, but they lacked the IQ. That's the benefit of having the brain trust in Phil Jackson. Stockton was a nightmare. I agree, Josh. He was a nightmare. Gary Payton was on record as saying my man John Stockton was the hardest player he ever had to guard. People get on him and say, no, it's Michael Jordan. How about the fact that Gary Payton should have an entitlement to his opinion? How about that? How about the fact that John Stockton played the same position that Gary Payton primarily played? I mean, because Gary Payton is the only point guard in NBA history to win a Defensive Player of the Year award. Gary Payton is one of 4 players in NBA history to make 9 first-team All-NBA defense. 9 first-team All-NBA defense. Okay? This is the same guy that told you if he was guarding Steph Curry, he would guard him 94 feet. And in Gary Payton's own words, he said, give me a guy who could make 7 of 11 of them shots. You know, get himself 7 to 8 free throws at the free throw line. And then he would assist on about 8. He would assist about anywhere from about get you 8 or 10 assists. So he assisted on, got you 16 to 20 points. He gave you 14 points from the field and another 8 to 10 from the free throw line. And he would have about 24 and 10 assists. I had to guard that guy. And what I tell you about John Stockton is hard-nosed player, one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history, a guy who competed in practice, a guy who was not well known by a lot of people in the NBA. This dude had to really earn his stripes. Really had to earn his stripes. To think that that great Hall of Fame player, John Stockton, was in the 84 draft with Jordan, Barkley, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Where's he from again? Spokane, Washington. And nobody knew who John Stockton was. And by the end of his career, everybody knows that John Stockton is a Hall of Famer and an all-time great. So the Utah Jazz, let's look at the 98 Jazz, for example. This is a team, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no. You know, as a matter of fact, let me go to 97. 64-game Utah Jazz. Who did they beat? Well, the Clippers were a bad team, even though they made the playoffs. But, okay, they swept them. The Los Angeles Lakers of 97, they won 56 games. That was with rookie Kobe Bryant not playing as many minutes coming off the bench. This is with a prime 25-year-old Shaquille O'Neal, Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, Robert Horry, Sean Rooks, Corey Blunt, Byron Scott's last year, you know. Really, really nice little team they have. 56 wins, 4th seed in the West. They beat them in 5 games. And this was before Kobe truly developed into the player he became to help Shaq, along with Shaq being the best player on the Lakers, to win championships. In the Western Conference Finals, they go up against Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley when he was still productive, even though injury started to set in, and Hakeem Olajuwon, still productive but not in his prime. And the 57-win Houston Rockets. And when people forget about that season, the Houston Rockets that year started 21-2. 57 games, they go start 21-2. They could have won 60 games. They probably had some injuries that year. But wow. My man Weiss, I haven't seen you in a minute. Yo, what's going on, brother? Man, I agree though. The 93 Suns, and I always say that the 93 Suns are comparable to the 2018 Warriors. They averaged about I think it was 115 or 117. No, somewhere around there. It was 115 to 120 points per game. It's kind of like if you were predicting the weather in Arizona, 115 to 120. You know, that's kind of like what the Suns were in points. They have the same comparable stats to the 2018 Warriors, and in some aspects, they're even better than that. That's what's so crazy about the 93 Suns, while attempting less threes than what the Warriors attempted. Okay? They put up 2017, 2018 Golden State type numbers, man. I mean, Kevin Johnson, who should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, you know, one of the more underrated point guards in NBA history. But back to the Utah Jazz for a second, folks. These guys averaged, I mean, you know, the Houston Rockets, you know, 57 wins and had those guys on the team. They beat them in 6. They go up against the Chicago Bulls, who won 69 games that year. They were 1 win away from going back-to-back seasons with 70 wins. Back-to-back. Back-to-back. Having past prime Jordan, who was still scoring 29 to 30 a game. You got Scottie Pippen making first-team all-defense and was an all-star with Jordan in 97. They take the Bulls to 6 games. And as a matter of fact, their IQ gave the Bulls a lot of problems. And the funny thing is the Jazz had the deeper team. But remember that the Bulls won that series on sheer will. Michael Jordan. Great defense. The Chicago Bulls have an all-time great defense. That's what Michael Jordan was on. He's on all-time teams that have all-time great defense. Also, the Utah Jazz were one of the best defensive teams in 97 that year. Karl Malone was the MVP. They win a franchise best 64 games. Took the Bulls to 6 games, and in 4 of those 6 games were close. You know how much they were decided by, ladies and gentlemen? 4 points or less in 4 of the 6 games in that series. That's how it tells you how competitive it was. And at this point in the NBA was when we were starting to get some ugly basketball. It wasn't that gun-ho, run-and-gun type of offensive style. We were seeing defensive, grind-out, ugly basketball games, okay? Physicality, guys making big plays, down the stretch in games. You saw probably about as competitive amount of basketball as you could see from a defensive standpoint. And you really had to execute and be on your X's and O's to try to be able to beat those teams back in the day. And as Josh says, man, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan are defensive Dobermans. They have a Doberman lineup. And even if Dennis Rodman was not in his prime, you know, 34, 35 years old, the guy was still a pretty good defender. He wasn't Defensive Player of the Year, Dennis Rodman in Detroit, but still great defender. Or even in San Antonio, but still great defender. You know? They knock off the Houston Rockets, and then they lose to the Bulls in 6. And then you look at the 98 Jazz. The Houston Rockets, you know, they were 1 and done, 8th seed. The San Antonio Spurs that won 56 games with a rookie Tim Duncan. A very nice, clean, polished Tim Duncan and David Robinson. And Weiss says a very good question. How many times did he lead the league in steals in the NBA? And we have to remember, John Stockton is the all-time leader in steals. I think John Stockton, if I'm not mistaken, he won quite a few steal titles. I don't remember how many, but he won quite a few. He won quite a few. Let's look at I mean, even the 98 Jazz, they beat the Rockets in the first round. They beat Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and San Antonio Spurs. Very good team in 5 games, and that team won 56 games, one of the best defenses of all time. That team was a top 10 defense at San Antonio Spurs. Twin Towers, still productive David Robinson, who took the Bill Russell role in their 99 championship team. Then you have the 61-win Los Angeles Lakers, who knocked off 61-win Seattle Supersonics. That was the year that 3 teams in the West had 60 wins. The Bulls were the only team in the Eastern Conference that year to win 62 games. The Lakers, the Jazz, and the Sonics were the 3 teams that had 60 wins or more. The Jazz had 62, the Sonics had 61, and the Lakers had 61. They swept the Los Angeles Lakers 4-0 in the Western Conference Finals. That same Utah Jazz team that had Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. A team that had 4 All-Stars, ladies and gentlemen. 4. Kobe was coming off the bench at that point, and I think he was averaging anywhere from 26 to 28 minutes a game. Gave you 15.6 points off the bench. Nick Van Exel, baller. Eddie Jones, baller, 3-time All-Star. Made another All-Star team with the Charlotte Hornets in 2000. Shaquille O'Neal, top 10 all-time greatest player, All-Star. That's what the Utah Jazz beat. Why? The Lakers were more talented than them. More youthful, more athletic, more talented. Why AT? Yeah. But what did the Utah Jazz have? Basketball IQ. And then in the NBA Finals, they go up against the 62 Chicago Bulls, the 98 Bulls, who many people were saying that they were probably kind of over the hill. What's going on, Michael Polanco? What's going on, man? Like I said, subscribe to the guys. Come into the live stream, like the video, share the video. Appreciate you guys for coming in. They went against the Bulls, who again they went up against a 58-win Indiana Pacers. Y'all forget Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, Rick Smith, Dale Davis, Jalen Rose coming off the bench, Travis Best. Yo, that Indiana Pacers team was a squad, man. And head coached by who? Larry Legend Bird. The Pacers won 58 games that year, folks. How about the fact that Michael Jordan went up against the Charlotte Hornets, a very good defensive team that had Glenn Rice, Muggsy Bogues, what's this dude I'm thinking about? Bobby Phills, let's see, Vlade Divac, BJ Armstrong, one of MJ's older teammates. A very good Charlotte Hornets team that won 51 games. 51 games. So the Jazz was just so fundamentally sound, along with the Chicago Bulls. They had depth. I mean, let's look at the team that they had. We're talking about Chris Morris. We're talking about Antoine Carr. Oh, that's right. Anthony Mason was on that 98 Bulls. And people don't give Anthony Mason a lot of credit. For a guy as bulky and as heavy as Anthony Mason was, that dude had very good feet and was a very good defender. Michael Jordan said on many occasions that Anthony Mason was one of the few players in the NBA that played him solidly for a big man. This guy could put the ball on the floor. Okay? Like, people be disrespecting some of these teams in the 90s, man. I'm telling you. I look at the 98 Pacers, another team with high basketball IQ. Maybe they're not great in terms of competition when it came to the NBA Finals with the Los Angeles Lakers. But best believe, those Pacers were one of the best defensive teams in NBA history. Such an underrated defensive team. Underrated defensively. Underrated. Reggie Miller, one of the most clutch players of his generation. I mean, they don't call Reggie Miller Ty Miller for nothing. I mean, the people forget that. People forget that. People can disrespect the Knicks all they want in the 90s because they had low basketball IQ. But don't sit here and tell me that team wasn't tough. They were tough. Okay? Michael had to go through those guys to get to the finals. Okay? So I don't want to hear that the Bulls could have went to the finals, bro. But I mean, not the Bulls, sorry, the New York Knicks. Yeah, they lacked IQ. No question about that. And it was an emotionally unstable team, too. because if you can mentally get to the Knicks, you have them beat. But when the Knicks were stable, one of the best defensive teams in NBA history. Mason, Oakley, Starks, Ewing. That team was no joke, man. No joke. Yo, just take a look. Yo, I want people to watch the 1992 NBA playoffs and go to the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks. One of the greatest playoff series of all time. Oh, the Davis Bros, Antonio Davis and Dale Davis. Exactly, Weesh. And what I'm telling you is that take a look at that series and watch it. You will enjoy the basketball that's being played in that series. If you're a fan of 90s basketball, take a watch of that series. And I saw the whole thing. I saw the whole series. So much fun to watch. Fun to watch. As a basketball fan, I live and breathe for those kind of games. The key word is intensity. You don't feel the word intensity in today's NBA, especially in the playoffs like you do back then. When you look at rivalries, I feel like the NBA forces more rivalries today, and it's not even really a rivalry like it was back then. That's why I said that the 98 Jazz deserve much more respect. You're telling me that pick and roll combination would not translate into today's game? Like, what about Jeff Hornacek? Like, that dude was an all-star with the Phoenix Suns. Are people forgetting him? How about one of the best shooters of his time? I mean, Legendary Duke says 2000 Sacramento Kings. We would have won the chip if Donahue. Not the 2000 Kings. I think what you're referring to are the 2002 Sacramento Kings, because that team was the best team that the Lakers faced, to be honest with you. 7-game series. They won 61 wins. I mean, you look at the Detroit Pistons. It's those 90s Pistons. Well, let's look at the early 90s. Were more formidable than Grant Hill and those Pistons. I thought the 97 Pistons were a really good team that won 54 games. The 97 NBA regular season, and especially in the playoffs, was some of the most competitive basketball I've seen. There were a lot of good teams that year. A lot of really good teams. A lot of 50-win teams that year. A lot of 50-win teams. There were about, I think, 11 to 12 teams in that 97 season from both conferences combined that won 50-plus games. That's how competitive it was in the 90s. I mean, the 2002 Sacramento Kings, they would dominate today's NBA too. They would. That was a very high IQ basketball team throughout the game. My issue with the 02 Kings would be in the waning moments. That's where they struggle. But that's really more so a product of guys like Chris Webber. Because if you look at Mike Bibby, that dude was nasty in that 2002 Western Conference Finals. As a matter of fact, if you look at that 02 Conference Final Series, Mike Bibby was giving it to the Lakers. I think he averaged nearly 25 a game in that series, shot about 40, I think it was 47, 48%. That dude had no fear. I mean, you look at teams like the 95 Magic. You're telling me that team wouldn't go in today's game? Penny Hardaway. Does that ring a bell to anybody? Penny Hardaway. Shaquille O'Neal in his third year. Think about that. Horace Grant, Nick Anderson, 3D Dennis Scott. Okay? I'm telling you. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you, bro. Exactly. Bobby Jackson and Mike Bibby. Yo, that undersized backcourt for the Kings, them dudes would putting in work. They were putting in work. Oh, the 96 Magic, that team won 60 games. Oh, let me tell you something about the 95 and 96 Magic. Them dudes, back-to-back years, went 39-2 in the Magic Arena. Back-to-back years, them dudes went 39-2. So in an 82 game season, they're 78-4 combined in 82 games in 2 years. That's what people were saying. That's what the record of the Warriors is going to be in 2017 when they got Kevin Durant. It's a 77-win team. That's what they were saying. The Orlando Magic got that home record in 2 years, 78-4. 78-4. That's how dominant the Magic were at home. Their biggest problem was they couldn't win on the road. They were not a great road team. And against an elite team like Chicago, when Michael Jordan was not the way he was in basketball shape, he was still getting numbers, but they weren't as efficient. And you could see Michael's timing was just very, very, very off. Very, very off when the Bulls went up against a much better team. But in 96, when Michael got himself in basketball shape, he was a little more bulkier than he was in 95. I felt like Michael just should have just kind of just worked on his game more so than kind of lift weights up more. But I think it was more so for physicality reasons and just to try to deal with physical play. But I think Michael's body, if he had kind of kept that same 95 shape, but just get in the basketball and just work on his cardio, I think you would have saw the quickness. Because if people forget, Michael was actually more bulkier in 96. And then the very next year in 97, he actually shed some muscle back down and actually lost some weight. And if you look at him in the playoffs, in the 97 playoffs, Michael was so quick. And I said, Michael looks like early 90s Michael in terms of quickness because he was very quick. Even at 34 years old, Michael was very, very quick. I was like, wow. Man, it's like, so when I look at, the Bulls teams, I'm like, shout out to my man, Mr. D. Holloway, too. He said it best. Defense travels. These teams with high basketball IQ, they'll adjust to the game. Maybe they won't like the fact where the NBA is, but you can't tell me they're not smart enough to adjust. Look at the ball movement for Sacramento. They didn't really have a true point guard. Their bigs were their best passers in Chris Webber and Vlade Divac. They were their best passers. Jason Williams, 2000-2001 was clearly the most flashiest passer. But you can make a case, man. People called the Sacramento Kings the greatest show on earth before the Golden State Warriors got that mantle. Okay? When you came into Arco Arena, those cowbells, that noise, that Arco Arena atmosphere, they were arguably the loudest fans in the NBA at that time. I mean, Peja Stojakovic, Doug Christie, Scott Pollard, Lawrence Funderburg, Gerald Wallace, just to name a few guys, Hedo Turkoglu. The Sacramento Kings had that international flavor on their team, And in my opinion, the 2002 Sacramento Kings are one of the greatest teams to not win a championship. They only had they have one All-Star that year, I believe, if not two. But what about the 2000 Portland Trailblazers with Scottie Pippen, Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells, Arvydas Sabonis, Damon Stoudemire? You telling me that the 99 Blazers or the 2000 Blazers, you're not telling me that those guys could dominate? Oh, Steve Smith, let me not forget him, could dominate in today's NBA? That Blazers team was deep. Stacey Augmon, bruh. They had Jamil O'Neal on the bench before he became prime Jamil O'Neal with the Indiana Pacers. And Jermaine O'Neal came out of high school, but he was talented. He was talented. Jermaine O'Neal was on the 96 draft class with Kobe, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Marcus Camby, Antoine Walker, Stephon Marbury, Sharif Abdul-Rahim. And y'all coming on here telling me I don't know basketball? Get out of here. Not to my real ones, but to some of these dudes that be like, you don't know basketball. How the hell I can name these players off the bat? I watch b-ball, folks. I watch it. I live it. I breathe it. Okay? So, like I said, if you're telling me that the high basketball IQ of the Jazz, with their ability to switch, the ability to cut, the ability to play hard-nosed defense, the ability to pick and roll you to death, their players do very well moving without the basketball. They pass the ball very well in their offense in their half-court sets. You are telling me that they cannot dominate in today's game, especially when there's no hand checking, when you could barely touch a player and it's a foul? I'm very, 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 very sorry. Very sorry. No, 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 no. Jazz will dominate. And Josh made a great point. Look at the 2000 Jazz. Phil Jackson was doing everything possible to avoid that team, because even if that team was an older team, and you saw when they went up against the Blazers were just too deep, and they were a younger team compared to the Utah Jazz, because the Jazz were a very, very veteran team. But he tried to avoid them. He purposely tried to avoid that team. He says, if there's one team I don't want to play, it's the Utah Jazz, because he felt that the Lakers did not have the IQ to match them. The Lakers were always more talented than the Jazz. But what do I keep saying, folks? Mental, mental. Oh, thank you, Legendary Duke. I was just about to get to that team. This is another team that gets disrespected. And in my honest, humble opinion, is the most underrated defensive team in NBA history. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. I'm talking about the 95-96 Sonics. Now, you're probably asking yourself, Lewis, the 95-96 Sonics, who was on that team that you're telling me that they're an all-time great team? I mean, they're another team that were just a bunch of plumbers that Jordan went up against. Let me tell you something about the 95-96 Seattle Supersonics. Gary Payton, only point guard in NBA history to win Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star that year. Def Leff Shrimp, one of the best six men in NBA history. I remember him because I do. Sam the Man Perkins, who played on the 91 Lakers that went to the NBA Finals against Jordan and the Bulls. Nate McMillan, one of the best defenders of his time, made 4 All-NBA defensive teams. Are you kidding me? How about Shawn Rayman Kemp? The brother with a man's body when he first came into the league. An athletic beast, Shawn Kemp. Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp were a nightmare in the open court. A damn nightmare. Ladies and gentlemen, I still have the 96 card of what's going on, Dub Banks. Shout out to you, my man, in the building. The 96 Sonics, bro. That team won 64 games. Number 1 in the NBA. You want to know what their record was at the Key Arena that year? Ladies and gentlemen, they were one of 3 teams to win. Ready for it? 38 games. The Seattle Supersonics of 96 went 38-3 at the Key Arena. The Chicago Bulls went 39-2 in the United Center in 96. The Orlando Magic in the Eastern Conference with the Bulls went 39-2 in 96 in the Orlando Arena. 3 teams won at least 38 games at home. And the Chicago Bulls were the Golden State Warriors of their time. Dominant. They set the record for most road wins in the NBA that year with 33. The Golden State Warriors broke that record in 2016 with 34. Shawn Kemp was what, a 6-time All-Star? That dude was a beast. What killed Shawn Kemp was depression and getting overweight. Shawn Kemp had a lot going on in his life, and he was never the same player after that. The last time that Shawn Kemp was in shape was the lockout season in 99. That was the very last time that Shawn Kemp was in shape. After that, Shawn Kemp was not the same player. He was a role player after that. I mean, we talking about, bro, the 98 Pacers would dominate in today's game. The 97-98 Jazz. The 96 Sonics. Excuse me. What else? Who are we talking about? Any of the Bulls teams from 91 to 98. I mean, you could even say the 94 Sonics because they won 63 games. They had the best record in the NBA that year. And that was the year Jordan left. They just got upset by that 94 Nuggets team that took the Jazz to 7 games. The 93 Suns with Charles Barkley, Kevin Johnson. Bro, Cedric Ceballos, Dan Marley, Danny Ainge, Tom Chambers, Richard Dumas, Frank Johnson, Oliver Miller. Y'all sitting here talking about I know basketball. How come I can name these players off the top of my head? I watch the games, folks. I watch it. That 93 team has similar numbers to the Golden State Warriors of today, 2018. I'm telling you, man. You're telling me that none of these teams will dominate today's game. Look no further. The 91 Golden State Warriors of Run TMC, they actually have similar numbers to the 2017 team that's got 2 MVPs on it. And Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. Look up the stats. That's the same 91 team that beat the 56-win San Antonio Spurs in the 91 playoffs and upset them when the Spurs were the favorites. That was who was head coach at the time by Larry Brown. And that was the time that David Robinson helped lead, I think, the Spurs. I think they have one of the biggest turnaround seasons in NBA history because I think they failed to make the playoffs the year he got drafted. And when he got drafted, they improved by about anywhere from 26 to 29 games, I believe. It was a hell of an improvement. So, and I'm just looking at it. Did y'all see David Robinson? That dude was a hell of an athlete. That dude has some of the craziest triceps in NBA history. Crazy. That dude, those dudes' triceps, that dude was beast. Former MVP, by the way, in 95. I mean, what about the 80s? The 87 Lakers that won 65 games. With Magic Johnson winning his first MVP award, his first of 3 MVP awards, when Pat Riley told him, we need you to be more of a scorer because Kareem's kind of on the decline of his career. And Magic Johnson averaged, 23 a game, 11 assists, about close to 7 to 8 rebounds. That team won 65 games. The 86 Celtics, many regard that team as the greatest team of all time. They won 67 games and went 40-1 at home. 40-1 at home. You know what's so crazy? The San Antonio Spurs of 2016 actually tied the Boston Celtics. I don't know if this swept over people's heads or it kind of went overclouded. The Spurs went 40-1 at home in 2016. They went 40-1 at home in 2016. And I thought that something like that would never be duplicated again. But the Boston Celtics did it in a much more difficult time period. They went 40-1. People don't understand how tough the Eastern Conference was in the 80s. And it was the cream of the crop of small forwards in the 80s. We're talking about wing players. Wing players. The best players were wing players in the 80s. There were a lot of very good small forwards in the 80s. I'm telling you. Like, people don't even forget. I'm telling you right now. Oh, yeah, that's right. He knows the sport. You know I be eating, man. You know when dudes got to go get their food, they got to get their food, man. You do what you got to do, fam, okay? So I respect dudes who have to go get food, who are eating while watching the stream. You do what you got to do, okay? You know I'm about that, man. But what I'm telling you is that this is why people need to understand. Learn your history. The problem is today's folks, a part of it is not their fault, and a part of it is because they choose not to learn their history. They're looking at guys in the past like Dr. J, Iceman Gervin. They're like, who are these guys? This is why people need to do a better job of educating these guys in NBA history. Nothing wrong with appreciating today's players in today's game. But you really need to teach these guys NBA history. Look at the tapes. You're telling me that the 89 Pistons that won 63 games, best record in the NBA. The same team that knocked off the Boston Celtics with Larry Bird, knocked off Magic Johnson, knocked off Michael Jordan in the playoffs. They wouldn't dominate today's game with the high basketball IQ point guard Isaiah Thomas, high basketball IQ Joe Dumars. To be honest with you, they were the original Golden State, as I made in the video. And you know, I don't know why? Because teams said it back then. It wasn't because teams hated Detroit because of their physical play. People disrespected them, saying that you cannot win with a stretch player in Bill Laimbeer playing center shooting threes. You can't win with an undersized backcourt with Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas. You can't win with your third guard being Vinnie Johnson and sometimes going through a 3-guard lineup. The Golden State Warriors today go with the death lineup. And that's why Isaiah and Joe thanked Curry and Clay. And Curry and Clay told them both, you guys get criticized for winning with small guards and winning without winning with a dominant center that's shooting threes, being a stretch player in Bill Laimbeer. We get criticized because we were a jump shooting team. This is why Charles Barkley goes on the Warriors and hates them like crazy. His 93 Suns are comparable to today's Warriors. His jump shooting team with the Suns were not able to beat Michael Jordan. The modern day Golden State Warriors have won 3 championships in a 5-year span, doing it primarily on jump shooting without a dominant front court, without a dominant big until DeMarcus Cousins came. But we really didn't get to see it because he was injured and he was out of shape, working his way into basketball shape and injured his quad. But you sitting here and telling me that none of these teams could go? What about the Cavaliers of the 90s? The 89 Cavaliers have won 57 games. The 92 and 93 Cavaliers have won 57 and 54 games respectively. You telling me none of these teams could dominate in today's NBA? People disrespecting Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, Gerald Wilkins, Craig Elo, Hot Rod Williams, Larry Nance, the OG Larry Nance, Ron Harper when he was on those Cavs teams before he left to the Clippers or before he got traded there. You know? Danny Ferry. Some really good Cleveland teams, man. They get slept on. Like I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I mean, look at the Knicks. The 97 Knicks. The 93 Knicks. The 94 Knicks. The 92 Knicks. You gonna sit here and tell me that those guys aren't gonna compete in today's game? The 98 Lakers with those 4 All-Stars. Shaq, Eddie, Nick, Kobe. Like it's unbelievable the disrespect that these guys get, man. It's crazy. Shout out to my man Jay in the building. Legendary Duke says, I always disrespected Mark Elo. I can't lie. Josh says Daugherty was like a Tim Duncan before Tim Duncan. His game kind of resembled like him when I looked at him in terms of the way he played. Very fundamentally sound was Brad Daugherty. He made, I believe, 3 or 4 All-Star teams before he kind of hung it up and went to NASCAR. And Legendary Duke is on sentiment with me. He says, big facts. There's plenty of teams in the past that will dominate today. How about the 83 Philadelphia 76ers? Y'all remember that team? Moses Malone? 4-4-4. Even though they didn't go 4-4-4, they came close. Dr. J, who was still productive, even though he was 33 at that point. Mo Cheeks, one of the best defensive players at the point guard position of his time. Excuse me. Bobby Jones. Andrew Toney, one of the more underrated players. Unfortunately for him, he had injuries. What about the Milwaukee Bucks? You know, the fans that love to use the 1-9 Pippen argument. The Milwaukee Bucks, without utilizing the three-point line, were a run-and-gun team. People are sleeping on my main guys. Terry Cummings, Sidney Moncrief, Paul Pressey. Oh, y'all didn't think I was going there, right? Ricky Pierce. Woo! Woo! I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Those Milwaukee Bucks, for them to be able to be a great defensive team, playing a run and gun style, not really utilizing the three-point line like they really didn't do back in the day, it's crazy. That's the same team that knocked off Michael Jordan in 4 games. People need to understand something about Michael Jordan's teams. Orlando Woolridge was a drug addict. I forgot the other player that was on that team, but they got taken off the team because they were drug addicts. They were cokeheads. I bet dudes didn't know about that. Michael Jordan had a couple of players on his team that were cokeheads. Dudes don't really know about that. And I agree with Josh. Malone would dominate today. I mean, if we look at Jordan when he missed 64 games, people don't talk about the fact that they were 9-9 in the 18 games that he played, and they were 21-43 when he did not play, when he missed 64 games. And that Boston Celtics team that they went up against, I told you, Dennis Johnson, great defensive player, 5-time All-Star. Danny Ainge, who could be in the Role Player Hall of Fame. That dude played 3 sports. He was a football player, and he was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays, if y'all didn't know. I think Danny Ainge played shortstop, or he was a third baseman. I don't remember. But if there was a Role Player Hall of Fame, Danny Ainge would be in it. That's how great Danny Ainge was. I mean, you got him, Robert Parrish, Hall of Famer, one of the 50 greatest. Kevin McHale, the master of the footwork, one of the original post players, man. When it came to footwork, that dude was giving people the business in the post. Larry Bird, obviously, great basketball IQ. Great basketball IQ. Rick Carlisle. Bill Walton, even though he was not in his prime due to the injuries. But Bill Walton was an MVP, and Bill Walton would be a Hall of Famer had that dude not gotten hurt. That's how dominant of a center Bill Walton was. And he was a tremendous passer at the center position. Bill Walton was a beast, okay? That's the problem with these cats. They don't understand. These guys don't understand basketball. Talking about how these teams want to play today. I'm telling you, these guys have some of the highest basketball IQ that we've ever seen in NBA history. History. And this is the problem with players of today. They don't respect the guys that came before them. I've said this in many videos. If you really learn your history, you would really understand what these teams had to go through back in the day. The 80s was not defensively dominant like the 90s, but it was very physical. Today's NBA is a product of the 1980s. Only the 80s saved the NBA. It was the golden age of basketball, ladies and gentlemen. It was the golden age of basketball. That's what the 80s has always been called because of how many great teams there were. The Lakers and Celtics rivalry with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and how many great players came out in the 80s, drafted, played, all-star games, dunk contests, three-point contests. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? As Ryan Hollins would say, are you kidding me? The Warriors would run lapses with that Bulls team. Man, Ryan Hollins, shut your mouth, man. Shut your mouth. Steven Jackson said it best, and shout out to my man, Captain Stacks Jackson. If you ain't average 10 points a game in a season or in your career, you should not be talking basketball. You should not be talking basketball. Okay? The fundamentals were off the charts back in the day. Guys played to get better. Again, because of where the money is in today's game, is why guys don't play as hard or guys are fundamentally sound. It's the one and done rule is influencing cats. You'll get automatic money when you get drafted into the NBA. Make sure that you're good enough at the draft combine to make yourself a top pick. That's what dudes are selling. People are not telling dudes, yo, stay in college and work on your game, get better. At the end of the day, it's their decision and I respect it. But what I'm telling you is a lot of guys, it takes them longer to work on their game because they feel like they're already good coming into the league. And once again, once you get a guaranteed contract, it's like you're really not going to work on your game as hard. Shout out to my man Too Raw for TV because you guys need to go check out his channel because he says this a lot. And he said it in the video. Today's players don't want to be great, and that's a fact. My man D Jefferson has said it. Shout out to D. Today's players don't want to be great. Shout out to my man, he knows his sport. Today's players don't want to be great. And it's a lot of reason why a lot of the players back then are kind of pissed at today's players. They feel like these players really haven't really earned their stripes and they wish that they had the value of money that they had. That's why players back then are the sacrifice for today's game. But it's like a lot of these new heads don't pay respects to the guys that came before them. That's why I kind of like guys like Donovan Mitchell when he says, as much as I idolize LeBron James, I want to beat him. I like that. I like that. When Ryan Hollins goes, oh, well, we're in an era where you have to team up with a guy, and you have to team up with the guy in order to win championships. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. Who started modern prime super teams? MPS, MPST, modern prime super teams. Okay? Who started that? LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. The reason that LeBron is obviously going to get most of it is because he is the biggest superstar in the NBA. He is the cash cow. He is the market. He is the golden boy. Where did he go next after he used Miami? Went to Cleveland, went back. Does he give a damn about Dan Gilbert? Hell no. Hell no. Every time those two interact, you could tell it's fake love. I tell you, fake love to me. Fake love to me. Straight up to my face. Straight up to my face. That's the relationship of Dan Gilbert and LeBron James. Fake love. Shout out to Drizzy Drake. That's what they are. LeBron did it for business. LaRich Paul told him, business. People in LeBron's camp, business. Who signed first in Miami? It wasn't LeBron. It was Chris Bosh. Who signed first? Kyrie Irving. Before LeBron went back. That's what dudes need to understand. I would love for any of those past teams to go up against the likes of a 2012, 2013, or 2011 Miami Heat. I would love that. I would love that. Because you got players back then who used to talk trash, who played fundamental basketball in today's game. And I'm telling you right now, the LeBron James Justice Coalition that is on LeBron James's payroll portal, guys like, obviously, I just mentioned Ryan Hollins, the CJ McCollum lookalike. You have Damon Jones, Damon Basketball. I got hit with soup by J.R. Smith Jones, talking about saying that Steph Curry has more to prove than James Harden. Nigga, what? A two-time MVP, a three-time NBA champion has more to prove than a player who's won one MVP. Can I get a Kawhi Leonard? Yo, it's ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. It's straight up blasphemy, man. It's hypocritical. It's hypocritical, like Kendrick Perkins would say about Steve Kerr. I think his comments are hypocritical. That's what this is, man. Yo, I cannot tell you how these guys get disrespected. This is why NBA history is very important, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important. It's very important. That's why when you hear these casual fans go, "Oh, Jordan didn't play anybody. He played in the expansion era. He played in a watered-down NBA. He played with a bunch of scrubs against a bunch of scrubs." Like the 92 Blazers, the 90 Blazers, the 91 Blazers with Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter, Kevin Duckworth, what's this guy's name? Cliff Robinson, Buck Williams. You telling me those guys couldn't play today's NBA? Their issue was they always tend to self-destruct and show low basketball IQ. That was another emotionally unstable team. But they were very athletic, very talented, gave the Bulls a lot of problems. They could have did the same thing to the Detroit Pistons, but the Detroit Pistons had superior basketball IQ. that would have been a more competitive series because Portland came in and they beat Detroit in Game 2 of those 1990 NBA Finals. Very capable. People sleeping on Terry Porter, man. That dude was nice. Clyde Drexler, people forget that he finished second in MVP in 92. That 57-win Portland team. Oh, don't forget Danny Ainge, who came the next year in 91. That Blazer team that won 63 games, best record in the NBA. Are you telling me that they wouldn't do jack in today's NBA? What about the Lakers with Magic Johnson, the 91 Lakers? 58 games, prime James Worthy, Magic Johnson, 31 years old, still in his prime. Finished second in MVP to Michael Jordan that year. 5th best defensive rated team in the NBA, playing at a slower pace, mind you. And they won 58 games, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, but Magic Johnson got old. Oh, the Detroit Pistons got old. I will agree that the Pistons got injured. And Isaiah Thomas, his career kind of went downhill after he had that wrist injury in the 90-91 season. But Speaking My Sport Talk, what's going on, bro? Appreciate you coming on the stream, man. Thank you for the StreamYard request. Thank you for the StreamYard. You know, I'm using it to my advantage, and I'm just kind of using it to put my voice out there. Again, guys, make sure to share the stream in all social platforms. Let dudes know about the channel. I truly appreciate it. Listen, I come at you with this heat when I'm talking about these all-time great teams that they want to dominate today's NBA. It's ridiculous how some of these guys get disrespected. It's crazy. Disrespecting guys like Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkins. You know, I mean, let's look at the 81 Celtics, the 81 Sixers. Oh, you know what? You should go watch that series. The 81 Sixers against the 81 Celtics. It's one of the greatest series in NBA history. And that was the one where the Celtics came back from 3-1 to beat the Philadelphia 76ers. 3-1. You know, the one that people love to talk about, Golden State, they blew 3-1. But Oklahoma City Thunder, in that same token, blew 3-1 as well. You know? But because it's synonymous, it's associated with LeBron James, that he beat the Golden State Warriors that was 73-9 and lost 9 playoff games and were not the same dominant team. All of a sudden, LeBron won 2 championships, beating the 73-9 Golden State team, because I was ecstatic, man. I was ecstatic. You know, it was like, you know, getting one for the land, and people saying that the Golden State Warriors were the greatest team ever assembled. If the Golden State Warriors are the greatest team ever assembled, why is it that there's so many teams from back then that would give Golden State Warriors so many problems, and as a matter of fact, beat them if they were to play them in a 7-game series? You're telling me that the 96 Sonics with Def Left Shrimp, Irvin Johnson, Nate McMillan, Frank Rakowski, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Sam Perkins, you're telling me that 96 team ain't gonna beat the Golden State Warriors without great of a defensive team that they were? Gary Payton picking up Steph Curry 94 feet and trash talking him? Come on, dog. It's already bad enough that we could put just about any Bulls team in NBA history to go up against these Golden State Warriors. People talk about 96. The 91 Bulls are the most underrated team of the Bulls' 6 championships. That was arguably the best defensive team, in my opinion, of the 6 championship teams, other than the 96 Bulls. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. In that 91 postseason, they had the lowest scoring defense in the last 10 years prior to them, which was the Boston Celtics in 81 that won the title. Can you believe that? They had the lowest scoring defense in the last 10 years at that time compared to the Boston Celtics. And yet, y'all people coming out here saying, Lewis, you don't know basketball. Really? 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 A wise man once said on his YouTube channel, he keeps the foot on the necks. On the what? On the necks of these Rudy Poo and plum brains. Shout out to He Knows the Sport. You know? So, like I said, shout out to my man Speaking My Sport Talk, who said he's in the live again. ladies and gentlemen, as I've talked about with these all-time great teams, is there any other team that I'm missing that could dominate in today's game? Any other team? Let me know in the chat. Any team? If I miss one, I could put the 2000 Pacers, any of the Lakers early championship teams from 2000 2002. Let me know any other teams. Let me know any other teams. Like I said, we talk about the 89 Pistons, the 87 Lakers, the 86 Celtics, the 83 Sixers. You know? I mean, a lot of great teams. A lot of great teams. So Richard Pimentel mentions about the 92 Six Sonics and the 92 Knicks. Yeah, I mentioned those guys. They definitely would be up there for sure. I told you, the 96 Sonics, in my opinion, are the most underrated defensive team in NBA history. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe this team slipped me by. How about the 97 Miami Heat with Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, Vashawn Leonard, Jamal Mashburn, you know, Dan Marley, right? That was a great team. They won 61 games. They had the number one defense that year in the NBA. Great team. Great team. Great team. Coached by the legendary Pat Riley. So crazy, right? What about the Rockets of 94? Like I said, 97, 98 Jazz, 99 Spurs, 2000 of the Lakers. I just mentioned so many teams. How about the Detroit Pistons of the mid-2000s? The 06 Pistons, the 04 Pistons. They be a little more offensively challenged, but you're telling me with Ben Wallace? Hey, man, how about the 2004 Indiana Pacers with prime Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, a still productive Reggie Miller? How about that crew? You know? How about KG's Minnesota Timberwolves of 2004? How about the Dallas Mavericks of 2003 with Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki and Michael Finley? How about those guys? Huh? You know? Oh, let's do the 86 Rockets, man, since you want to mention that one. The Twin Towers, Akeem and Ralph Sampson. Funny, two of the most talented big men of their time when they were together. Ralph Sampson made already 4 All-Star teams already. He was going to be such a dominant big. Unfortunately for him, he suffered so many injuries and got traded. He became a journeyman after that and retired early. But he was going to be one of the all-time greats. He is in the Hall of Fame now, but that's due to his college career and a little bit of his NBA career. But it tells you the potential that Rob Sampson had. That dude moved like a damn guard at 7'4". It's crazy. Crazy. Very skilled, very quick. It's crazy how you have two quick big men on the same team. Not only are they big, but they're quick and they're skilled. Crazy. Crazy. You know? I mean, the 95 Spurs with David Robinson, Vinny Del Negro, Sean Elliott, Dennis Rodman, Terry Cummings, you know? How about the Philadelphia teams in 90 and 91 with Barkley? Rick Mahorn, Hersey Hawkins. I forgot to mention him on the 96 Sonics. How could I forget him? Hersey Hawkins. Right. Very good player. It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy how many teams would be in today's NBA. So many teams. So many teams. Now, I want to switch gears. Once again, shout out to Molly Karam. I'm going to use that term a lot. I want to switch gears into now all-time playoff matchups. So I've done talked about these all-time great teams, but now I want to know what would be great playoff matchups all time. Let's take the best teams of today and put them up against the best teams in the past. Who would you like to see in the 7-game series? I got one right off the bat. I would love to see. People already talked about Golden State and Chicago. That's pretty obvious because people were comparing the Warriors to the Chicago Bulls. And if they're right in a comparison, it's this. The Chicago Bulls were the Golden State Warriors of their time. That's the real comparison we can honestly really get. They were the Golden State Warriors of their time. But let's see. We have, I would love to see in a playoff matchup, the 2002 Kings against the 2016 Golden State Warriors. I would love to see that because you're going to get great shows. You're going to get a great show. You're going to get a great show. You're going to get a great show. The 02 Kings, one of the greatest teams to never win an NBA title, against the 2016 Golden State Warriors. I would love to see that matchup. You got Mike Bibby against Steph Curry. Chris Webber against Draymond Green. Interesting. Andrew Bogut and Vlade Divac kind of cancel themselves out. And now you go to the backcourt. Doug Christie against Klay Thompson. That'd be an interesting matchup. Two very good defenders. Pedro Stojakovic at the 3 position going against Harrison Barnes. It's an interesting matchup. Interesting matchup. That's one. Here's another one. So, Richard, when you say James Harden against the glove, I'm talking about teams. You're talking about individual players. So, what team of Gary Payton against one of James Harden's teams? Who would you like to see? Here's another matchup that I would love to see. You ready for this one? The 2000 Portland Trailblazers against the 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder. What do you think about that one? The 2000 Portland Trailblazers against the 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder. That's my second playoff matchup. I would really like that one. So I mentioned the 02 Kings against the 2016 Golden State Warriors, since they were both regarded as the greatest show on earth. The Golden State Warriors are the greatest show of this time, and the Sacramento Kings are the greatest show of their time. That team gave the Lakers fits. I would say more so in 2000 and 2002. 2001, the Lakers were the more dominant team. But in 2000 and 2002, they gave the Lakers fits. It was just bad matchups. And the key thing is high basketball IQ and ball movement. But the key thing was late in games is where the Sacramento Kings had poor basketball IQ. And I think they always have a level of anxiety when it came to big games with them, even though they were still trying to able to keep pace in 2002. Omar Page says the 96 Sonics against the 2015 Houston Rockets. Okay. The 2000 Lakers against the 2016 Golden State Warriors. I would go 2001 just because Kobe and Shaq were just about equal in terms of scoring average, in terms of dominant play. Because if we know about 2001, the Lakers in that postseason, they went 15-1. The Warriors have the record now at 16-1 because of the division format in the first round is now a 7-game series. But remember that the first round was a best of 5 in Kobe and Shaq's time when they first played. At that time, it was a best of 5. So, I would actually put the 96 Sonics against the 2018 Houston Rockets. That's actually, to me, the better one. The 96 Sonics against the 2017 Cavs. I'm going to go 2016 because that was, to me, their best team. The 2016 Cavs against the 96 Sonics. No, 95 Rockets. Because the 2018 Rockets won 65 games. That was their best team, and that was their most deep team, and that was their best defensive team as well. So I would love to see the 96 Sonics go up against the 2018 Rockets. I think that would be a great series. Obviously, the 96 Bulls against I would put them against not the 2016, the 2017 Golden State Warriors. I think that would be a great matchup. Dennis Rodman and Draymond Green, that'd be great. What about any of the Jazz teams, like 97, 98? Like, who would you put those Jazz teams up against in today's NBA? Let's see. A team that's hard-nosed, like the Jazz. Pick and roll perfection. They can space the floor. A post-up offense. Kicked it out to the three, moving the ball. No, Jay, not the 2019. I said the 2018 Rockets. That 2019 team is really no good up against some of these all-time teams. Not that good. The 2018 Rockets, to me, would pose a better matchup against the 96 Sonics, fully healthy. Or if you were responding to Richard. But to Richard's point, the 2018 Rockets would be much better, though. I would love to see those, man. those would be lit. Those would be litty, straight up litty, man. You know. So I definitely would like to see those for sure. Let's see. So I mentioned the 2000 Trailblazers against the 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh, how about the Utah Jazz of 1997 going up against the 2011 Dallas Mavericks? The 1997 Jazz against the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Because here's the thing with Golden State. I don't think they're not a good matchup for the 86 Celtics. They're not a good matchup for the 87 Lakers. Because the one thing that already both of those teams have is a dominant front court. And the Warriors will struggle with their front court because the Warriors are a weak interior defense. And their best shot blocker is, what was it? JaVale McGee. So the 97 Jazz against last year's Nuggets. That actually would be an intriguing matchup. Yo, I like that one, Richard. That was good. That was actually good. I like that one. I like that one. He says the 97 Jazz against last year's Denver Nuggets. I like it. I really do like that. That's really interesting. So we can talk about matchups. You guys can also comment when the stream is over. Let me know what you guys think of the live stream. Let me know what you think of my live streams in general. You guys could even give me suggestions on what I would do for even the next live stream. Like, yo, if you got any suggestions, man, yo, let me know, man, and I'll do my very best to cover it, man. So, let me know. And I'll definitely take note of that and make sure that I'll keep it in the back of my mind. Oh, I see, Jay. I got you. Yeah, I got you. So I like these teams, man. I honestly think that it would be great to see these matchups because you gotta get to play fantasy dream matchups. You know, when it comes to basketball, especially when you appreciate NBA history. And it's great to see. I mean, what about the 95 or the 96 Magic, the 93 Suns? You know, who would you put those guys in matchups? You know, any of the 90s Bulls teams. You know, I mentioned the 87 Celtics, the 87 Lakers and the 86 Celtics, the 83 Sixers. You got the 74 Boston Celtics with Dave Cowens in them, John Havlicek. You know, great historic team. You got the Knicks of the 70s, the 1970 Knicks that won 60 games. Walt Clyde Frazier, Earl the Pro Monroe, Dave DeBusschere, you know, Bill Bradley, Phil Jackson, defensive specialist at the time on that team. Coached by the legendary Red Holtzman. I mean, there's a lot of great teams, man. A lot of great teams. You know, it's just pretty crazy, man. How we have all this kind of stuff, and you know, it really makes it awesome to appreciate the game, to appreciate these wonderful legends. You know, it's pretty amazing, man, how we could you know, just do this, man. It's crazy. Um, so we have all of these great pantheon, all-time great teams on offense and defense. You know, what about the Phoenix Suns of the 2000s? I mean, you know, which team do you think would be great? The '05 Suns, the '06 Suns, the '07 Suns in today's game? The Mavericks of 2006 or 2007? The San Antonio Spurs teams, and they kind of played in today's NBA when you really look at the 2014 Spurs that that won 62 games that year. You have them. Like I said, you got the Blazers of the early '90s. It's a lot of very good teams. Very good teams. I mean, the '97 Atlanta Hawks, the '94 team that won 57 games, the Indiana Pacers of the mid '90s. Just good, hard nosed, competitive basketball. That's what I love, man. That's what I love. And as Jay put it, when he says the Jazz would eat them up, and it's like it's true. High basketball IQ, man. High basketball IQ always beats great individual IQ. Elite team IQ beats individual IQ. Elite. Always said that. Once again, let me know if you guys are enjoying the live stream. You know, this has been really awesome. Like the fact that I've gotten to show my personality a lot more. Speaking my sports talk, you know, he first said it, man. I was sounding like a monotone Shaquille O'Neal because, you know, I was just doing big things and being informative when it came to the game of basketball, you know, when I first started. But we have to look at it like this way, guys. I honestly think that you know, if we were to compare the Lewis Basketball Network from where he started to where he is right now, um, he's not doing this whole cupcake stuff anymore. See, as Shaq so eloquently put it to Ryan Hollins, are we playing this? Are we playing in the big bad boy era, or are we playing in this little cupcake era now that we are today? Right, right. That's the thing. Ooh, last year's Sixers against the 95 or 96 Magic. I like it because you got mirror images. You got a Hakeem Olajuwon type going against 95, 96 Shaq. And then you have Ben Simmons, who's playing the point guard position, who has versatility at that spot at 6'8", going up against 6'7" Penny Hardaway. Hmm. Only difference is Penny had the jump shot coming into the NBA. Penny had the fundamentally sound game coming into the NBA already. That's what's so scary about Penny Hardaway. That dude was going to be one of the greatest to ever play the game had it not been for his injuries. This guy made first team All NBA with Shaq on the team. Think about that, folks. Shaq is the best player on the Magic, and Penny Hardaway, 2 years in a row, made first team All NBA with Shaq. That's how special Penny was when he was healthy. The numbers may not show it, but that's because he shared responsibility for Shaq. And what people forget about Penny Hardaway, he was averaging nearly over 30 in the first third of the season before Shaq came back from his injury. That's how special Penny Hardaway was. As an NBA fan, I've been blessed to been able to watch classic basketball games to let you appreciate the fundamental game of basketball, to let you know that has never gone away, and it makes you appreciate basketball even more. So yeah, he knows the sport. As you always say, I'm always eating. So what, brother? Oh man, it is what it is. I mean, yo, I'm eating, but not eating all the time, man. This is the first time you've seen me eating on my live streams. I ate on my last live stream and I ate on this one. Okay, but even sometimes when I'm on He Knows His Sport live stream, I'm doing the same thing. But yeah, man, like I said, man, dudes, obviously dudes gotta eat, man. So, and I've eaten before I've done my live stream, so it's very important. And give me a second, guys. Give me one quick second. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, and I mean, listen. So this is what's so great about this, man. The fact that I get to talk to you guys makes all of these that much more special. In sharing my personality and bringing more flair, to my videos, like I wasn't doing in the beginning. I was, like I said, much more informative. I was trying to show people that I know the game, but it's like now I know the game by not only just bringing the facts, but I bring the creativity. Um, I bring imagination, man. I bring, like I said, I bring a little bit of laughter, man. I try to be a little bit entertaining too. So, that's what I enjoy about doing this live stream. And with your guys' help, I'm gonna get there. I'm doing my very best editing these videos, doing live streams now. And I was saying to myself at some point I was gonna do live streams. It's funny because I was said I was gonna go live like once I got like 500 subs. I'm close. I'm not there yet. But with the help of you guys, I definitely will get there, man, on the road to 1K. And then from 1K, who knows what, where this channel grows, man. Who knows where it could take me, but it could take me to big places. And I truly firmly believe in that. It's just you got to believe in the product that you're selling. You got to believe that your craft is going to touch, those that watch it. And you have to understand who your audience is, man. And Freddie G, welcome back. Oh no, the topic we were talking about was we were talking about teams in the playoffs from all-time great teams. Teams in the from yesterday's NBA going up against today's teams in the NBA. What will make a great series? And I said some of them were like the 2000 Trailblazers against the 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder. We talked about the 96 Sonics against the 2018 Houston Rockets. Things like that. And we were just talking about what teams of like back then, like let's say 80s and 90s, if you even could go back even to 70s, what kind of teams will not only would be great in today's NBA, but again, make a matchup with some of today's teams compared to teams from yesteryear. Like, what do you think in terms of playoff matchups? Would you would have loved to see in terms of all time great teams? Share. Let me know what you think. I feel like my joint sometimes kind of slow sometimes. Like it takes forever. And Freddie was saying, "Oh, I see." Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about, bro. Let me see. And it's like, it just shows you, man. Like it just shows you being like that awesome, you know. And let's see. I watched some old school footage today. I'm gonna tell you what I think. Definitely, Freddie G. Let me know, man. Let me know. Definitely for sure, man. I would love to see what Yeah, definitely for sure. Freddie G says the game was played so close to the basket, and today it's spread out so much. So with much emphasis on shooting, it's hard to say. No, it's definitely hard to say, but there's at the same time, if you really, really do your homework and watch how teams played back then, as particular some teams, there's teams that are very comparable today. Like I said, for example, the '93 Suns to the 2018 Golden State Warriors, very similar in statistics and style of play, very similar, very similar. So like, if you really, do your research and do your homework, you could really check. Who would it be? In terms of all-time great. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you like the stream as you come in. Let dudes know about the channel. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to spend time with me on this Monday night, watching, commenting on the live stream. I appreciate you guys as always. Appreciate you guys as always. Yo, my man Low Key T was good, bro. Was goody. Ladies and gentlemen, Low Key T, go check out that dude's channel, man. Low Key T up in the building. Yo, again, Low Key, man, let me know when you're doing like a live stream when it comes to any of this basketball talk, man, and I'll be more than happy to be a guest on your channel. Like I said, man, like the stream as you come in, share the content, man, ladies and gentlemen. I can't stress that enough. Share the content. I appreciate those dudes who take the time to watch the video. Like I said, I do this for you guys. We're always out here, and I'm Lewis, the basketball truth teller network, as I like to call myself now, because I'm out here trying to tell the truth. So, Freddie G says spread it out means more long shots. Well, that's obviously because you're spacing the floor, bro. More long rebounds, more fast breaks, which means more points because the defense is set up. Yeah, that's the whole point of spread it. Yeah, I know. And in part, you can thank the Phoenix Suns of the mid 2000s. The one that's been pretty much getting the more recognition is Golden State because they've won, especially with the fact that you have a point guard who shoots from 35 feet in Steph Curry. Steve Nash was very selective with his shot selection. When he gets the chance, for sure. No. Of course, basketball in terms of the way it's played is different. But in terms of move set, no, it hasn't changed. It hasn't. It's just either guys don't have enough in their arsenal or guys do too much of the same thing in their arsenal. See, when you're unpredictable, it's like you can never hit a guy with the same move twice. Or if you're an unpredictable team, you can never hit a team with the same play. The only time that you hit a team with the same play is if they can't stop your play. If they happen to stop your play, you have something else to go to. That's the mark of a great team. When you have different sets to try to confuse the defense. If you don't have that, there's just no way. You're predictable. You're easier to defend, and you're actually pretty much having the team rest on defense, if we're being completely honest. Jay says 90s Rockets and 90s Magic with Shaq played a lot of four on one. Wait, 4 on 1 or 4 out 1? What do you mean? What are you trying to say they played inside out? Is what you're trying to say? Or are you talking about like in the fast break? Let me go to low key real quick. I used to love basketball and rap music, not so much anymore. You know, it's understandable, man. There's some things that you know, you kind of lose your desire on. There's always something that kind of just be like, you know what, I don't like this anymore. It's not fun for me like it once was. So, you do what you like at the end of the day, man. You find passion in what you like. So, I think that's the most important thing. You're happy. You have to be happy with what you do. As long as you're happy about it, I mean, there's no greater feeling in the world than doing what you love to do. Not something that you just do as a hobby and it's something that you like, but you're not gonna just do it like very often, you know? I think that's really what's really important. What's really important. I think that is really the most important thing. Um I don't know why this thing is going like really slow though. Really don't know. It's interesting. No, he didn't have a jumper like that. That's true. That's true. He really didn't have one. But that's still not to say the 94 Rockets weren't good. And shout out to my man Low Key. Says everything's just been watered down so much. I miss the competitive passion. What really kills me more so now is how predictable things have become. I like the fact that now we have so many teams that have a chance to win a championship, and the fact that we have a lot of 1 to 2 star players in just about every team. We have more balance. That's all I asked for so many years. Could we get some balance in the NBA, please? That's all I ask. But no, the NBA wants to make their revenue creating all these damn super teams and all this, and LeBron James with player power and all this kind of stuff. And it's gotten really ridiculous to the point that it really took the fun out of the game. It really took the fun out of the game. There's really like no rivalries, you know. And it's like what was crazy about a lot of the rivalry. There was a lot of rivalries in the '90s. People could talk about it's watered down and it wasn't that great. We talk about Knicks Bulls. We talk about Knicks Pacers. We talk about Knicks Heat. Late '90s, early 2000s. All right, like there was so many great rivalries. So many great rivalries in the East and the West. I mean, damn, Lou out here flexing. Show them how you really feel. Show them. Flexing, bro, flexing. And it's true. Balance is everything. Let me go to Jay real quick. He says 4 shooters and 1 paint player, 4 out and 1 in. Oh, okay. Now I see what you mean. Got you. Almost as if you're playing a 1-4 set, but just you got one player on the inside and everybody else on the outside. I get what you mean now, Jay. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So, all right, Josh, welcome back, man. Welcome back. So, I want to switch the topic once again. So now that we've gotten these all-time teams out of the way, I got a question for y'all. This pertains to Anthony Davis. Do you guys think that the Los Angeles Lakers will win the 2019 champion, 2020 championship this year, or the Los Angeles Clippers. Because if I said, like I said last stream, Stephen A is praying that there is a LA Western Conference Finals so that he could be in LA for 2 weeks. What a simp. I told you this dude is a leech. Let me see. Hold on. Low key basically says, "Do you like the StreamYard software?" I mean, I just started using it. I think it's cool. I mean, it's okay. I mean, if there's better technology, better software technology, please let me know, and I'll definitely like look into it and check it out. I mean, I think it's been pretty good so far for me. I haven't had any issues with it. Sometimes it just depends on your internet connection, and sometimes the stream looks like it's a lot slower than others, especially when it comes to the comment section. But I mean, it's okay so far. I don't know if you use a StreamYard or you just use the YouTube Live. I don't know which one you think prefers better. Because at least what I like about with the StreamYard is you could put multiple people on the screen. That's the cool part about it. That's the cool part. I think you can put up to 5 to 6 people. I think the max is 5 because once you put a 6th person, somebody ends up getting logged out. So like that's the king. Yeah, that's right, low key, because whoever he picks loses. That's what that dude does. So let me ask you guys, who do you think is gonna win first? The Lakers or the Clippers for this 2019-2020 season? I'm just focusing on those two teams. I know other teams have a chance, but I'm just focusing on those because I know the NBA is going to make this the Battle of LA for sure. I already know. Adam Silverspoon is going to do that. So who do you trust more in, the Clippers or do you trust in the Lakers? Because anytime Stephen A picks, this dude is always pretty much wrong, which is why I told you I don't take his basketball credibility for nothing. This dude is a fanboy, and he has his friends, his pals in the NBA. Let me know. No, who you got? Oh yeah. Josh is saying, I hope the Clippers, but I think the NBA will push the Lakers to win. I can't lie. I can't lie. I won't be surprised if the Lakers win the championship. I don't. And I just hate the fact that they're going to push this narrative once again. That's my issue. It's not that if the Lakers won the championship. See, if LeBron was not about narratives, I'd be totally cool with LeBron winning the 4th title. The problem is the narratives. And this dude lying to himself and to his fan base. And the media eating all of his words, and they spewing the same regurgitative vomit nonsense to the public. That's my issue. Not about LeBron winning another ring. That's not my issue. The NBA is going to be pushing for the Lakers to win. That's why David Griffin was sent from the heavens. He worked with LeBron James, and I think he went down to the New Orleans Pelicans. It was a foregone conclusion that AD was going to be a Laker. You telling me LeBron didn't know this? That's why I said I get mad that he purposely tanked the season for that. Like, really, dude? And his fans still defend it. That's the worst part about it. They still defend it. Like, that's not excusable. It's not excusable. Why couldn't you just play hard with the cards you were dealt up until those guys got traded, and at least be honest about it? I love how LeBron spoke to those Laker guys like if they were the ones that came to his team. I'm like, last time I checked, they were here before you got here, LeBron. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? Yo, this dude Kawhi Leonard, and I'm glad you mentioned this, Loki. This dude This dude is straight up conniving, man. Yo, Kawhi out here acting like a silent assassin on Assassin's Creed, bro. This dude, with the moves that this dude's been pulling off, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the bottom line is, this is why it always connects back to LeBron James. LeBron started this movement. And look how Kawhi Leonard doesn't let the media in on nothing about him. Kawhi Leonard is not a camera guy. He's camera shy. And then on top of that, Kawhi Leonard does his moves and he does his moves quietly. That's why you come in with all these surprises. You're like, you gotta squint your eyes a little bit, roll them like, exactly. That's what Kawhi Leonard does, man. Freddie G, let me go to this comment real quick. He says, no, I think Bron might have gave up, but I don't think it was because of his teammates. I have another reason, though. You know what, Freddie G? I am really, really, really interested to hear what you got to say on your point as to why LeBron did not give up because of his teammates. Josh says he likes how Kawhi moves. I told him, I call him the silencer. That's who he is. He'd be like a silent ninja. Freddie G says Kawhi is the opposite of LeBron, and he's fake too. Hey, hey man, at least you say he's fake, because at least with LeBron, because I'm sorry, LeBron's a great player, but that dude is a straight up phony. Phony. When it comes to basketball, LeBron is a phony. Phony. There, I said it. I get hate, I get slack. I don't give a damn. LeBron is a phony. Or as Skip likes to call him, the phony goat, the poor man's 23. He's not chasing Michael Jordan. He is chasing the ghost of Michael B. Jordan. Yes. Couldn't agree with you more, Skip. Couldn't agree with you more. Quite honestly, Kenny Smith made that great point. Look at this. Jay says, Otis Thorpe many times moved to center when Hakeem went out, or he would move to power forward. The Rockets played a lot of three-guard offenses. Remember? Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith, Sam Cassell. These matchups is why Thorpe was moved in the Drexler. It was moved in the Drexler trade. 4 out and 1 in with 3 guards. Jay is speaking facts. Speaking big facts. Speaking big facts. He is speaking hella facts on that one. That is correct. It's true. Kenny Smith said it on Open Court when Isaiah Thomas won championship. He said, oh, the paradigm was we had to win with not 1, not 2, but 3 guards. You know? Omar Page says, who's your favorite two-way player of all time? Omar. No question about it, man. MJ. The GOAT. Defensive player of the year at the shooting guard position. Offensively, the greatest scorer, in my opinion, in NBA history. Will Chamberlain has 72 NBA records, and he averaged 50 points per game in the season and all that. I get all that. But Michael Jordan did this in the modern era. 7 straight seasons averaging 30 over 30, at least 30 or more. 7 straight scoring titles. He went 5 straight seasons averaging 30, shooting over 50% at the shooting guard position. That's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is the problem. Michael Jordan was that great. Oh, Lewis, you're just a Jordan fanboy. You just didn't see Michael Jordan play. That's why you say that. Oh, he's nothing special. So why are you wearing his sneakers then? Oh, because the shoes look good. Man, I can't tell you how false is that. I can't tell you. Omar says, I gotta read this, man. He says MJ is the greatest two-way player. Those are facts. Who's your favorite two-way point guard? you know, there weren't that many point guards that were very two-way. If I were to go with, because Curry's my favorite point guard right now, my favorite all-time two-way point guard would have to be Gary Payton because of his ability to pick up guards from 94 feet and still being able to give you 20 points per game. Remember, Gary Payton made 9 NBA All-Defensive First Teams. That's how great Gary Payton was. I would pick Gary Payton. We says, what about Grant Hill? Grant Hill played the forward position. Yes, Grant Hill was a good defender, good two-way player. Let me go back real quick. Oh man. Low key says I'd rather watch you than RB the breakthrough. I mean, hey, it is what it is, man. But yo, I mean, RB produces amazing content, bro. The crazy part about it is, low key, is that when I first started watching RB, this was around probably late 2016, early 2017. And at that time, I was just browsing YouTube videos. I was not even really thinking about doing YouTube at all or anything, any of that sorts. It was when RB started doing his live streams back in I think it was 2017 that year, if I'm not mistaken. If it wasn't that, I think it was 2018. But when he started doing the live streams, um, you know, we were saying, dudes were saying in the comments, I remember he was saying, yo, Lewis, man, with the way that you be, spitting knowledge on basketball, you should probably start a channel of your own. That's my man, Tired of Fools, man. I wish I would see him in the streams, though. I mean, I seen him a couple of times, but shout out to my man, Tired of Fools. He was the one that told me that, yo, I think you should do live stream. You should really, start doing videos and, open a YouTube channel and start, doing videos. And I said, you know what? At first I was like not with it, but I was like, you know what? I know the game. I'm very knowledgeable about basketball. I said, let me watch the game. I said, let me watch the game. I do watch the game, and so quite honestly, I'm kind of an extension of what RB the Breakthrough is, to be honest with you. But but everybody has a right to opinion. So no, but I appreciate the fact that you actually want to take the time to watch me. So hey man, it is what it is, man. I got you, bro. So let me go down. Freddie G says, if I'm Bron and folks would dog me out regardless, when he realized he couldn't get the AD trade, I do think he was hurt, but I do think he milked it. But his specialist said he came back early. Freddie. Here's the issue with this whole thing. The reason that Bron got dogged out was because of the comments he was making when the Lakers would lose games. LeBron James intentionally chose to not defend in basketball games. The man got pushed by Kyle Kuzma, for God's sakes. And Kyle Kuzma's not a good defender by any means. He's not. Good player, but not a good defender. Hopefully he gets better within time. He needs to do something about his hair because he looked like he got a set of ramen noodles in his head. But LeBron James was throwing his teammates under the bus in the media. That's why they kind of went out on him. Listen, if you get traded, it's within the nature in the business. The problem is Magic Johnson and LeBron James publicized the trades. They publicized it. LeBron James was like, dude, this is how bad LeBron James is. You lose in the 2018 finals and you said you need to play with cerebral players. The same players that you were raving about after you helped trade what? D Wade, Derrick Rose, Jay Crowder, Isaiah Thomas. He was raving about Larry Nance, Jordan Clarkson, and all that. After that series in 2018 when he got swept, he said, I need to play with more cerebral players. George Hill went to the media and said, I got no problem being a cast-off and following your lead, LeBron. And what did LeBron do at the end? He says, these guys are not smart enough to be playing with me. And I'm saying to myself, man, this guy, again, puts his act like he's some great teammate. It's ridiculous, man. This is crazy. I cannot believe that we're still doing this. It's sad. It's very sad. The whole thing with his specialist was He should have this. Why did that come out after LeBron sat out for the season? That's my question. Why did he do that? That's the issue that I have. He came back in 6 weeks and decided to participate in the All-Star game. Why couldn't they get another captain to replace LeBron? They could have put KD, but they didn't do that because he ended up being a draft pick for LeBron. And if you look at how LeBron was playing athletically, I was just like, I thought this dude was like clearly hurt. And like I said, if he was doing low management against these top teams. And if you look at Luke Walton, yeah, you could say that he's somewhat not of a good coach, but I felt like again he was doomed from the start from the minute LeBron James signed to that team. He was doomed. He was doomed. It took LeBron James nearly 2 months to get a sit-down conversation with Luke Walton. That's how you already knew that Luke Walton was not going to be respected by LeBron James. You already knew. Luke Walton was another puppeteer scapegoat. And you coming out here with groin injury reports. I'm sorry, man. That's the problem. That's the problem. These inconsistent reports is what the reason why people were going back and forth and getting really suspicious about his groin injury. That's why I don't know if LeBron was really hurt or if he was really faking it. We don't know. He could have seriously been hurt or he was faking it. Jay says Clippers have the LeBron stopper, but the playoff disappear in PG. See, that's a trade-off. AD has to set the standard for the Lakers to win the championship. Lakers fan, Lakers have a lot of three-point shooters who also disappear. Just Danny Green. That one game he played well in the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors, he was really non-existent after that. He really wasn't existent after that. So that's what's really important. So let's see. Yeah, so Paul George has to step up. That's why I said that Paul George, he really has no excuses. He's playing with Kawhi Leonard. He has to get it done. So I don't want to hear that now. Okay, I've answered that question. Weiss, about Grant Hill, I mean, original point forward, very good player, but they were asking me about two guards. If it was about wings, you definitely got to put Grant Hill in that conversation. Grant Hill was a beast. Grant Hill was pretty good. Josh says, "LOL, Freddie." Exactly. Bron didn't get AD, or not when he wanted. When he wanted him, that's why he set out games. Exactly my point. When LeBron did not get what he wanted, he quit. And you have to understand the followers follow the leader. If LeBron is not going to admit and play as hard as he can during the season, why should the other Lakers? I can't tell you that when LeBron was injured, yeah, the Lakers were not winning basketball games like they were capable of, but they were playing hard and they were in a lot of close games. It's just here or there they kind of screwed up like down the stretch of games, but they were in a lot of close games. Some of them were blowouts, but for the most part they were close. They played harder. See, that's where your veteran leadership needs to step in if you're LeBron James. But because he wanted to pout that he didn't get AD, he chose to stat pad, and his fans quickly run to the 27-8-8 supermarket to grab 27-8-8 items, charging you at 27-8-8, giving you the 27-8-8 groceries to take home. That's what his fans did. That's what LaShannon Sharp does. You know? He said Gary Payton. I would go with him. Low key says Steve Nash is the best point guard ever. I disagree with that, but that is your opinion. Steve Nash is definitely one of the greatest point guards in NBA history in terms of the 7-second or less Phoenix Suns offense with Mike D'Antoni, because Steve Nash was a good point guard for the Dallas Mavericks, even in Don Nelson's system. But Nash turned all-time great when he went to the Phoenix Suns. And just by getting him and Q Rich, the Suns went from 29 to 62 wins. They were the number one assist team in the NBA, and they led the league in scoring and field goal percentage and free throw shooting. Like, Amari developed a jumper. Remember, his points are also predicated off of Steve Nash's play with the pick and roll. But I do understand your opinion if you want to say best point guard. But I would go best point guard ever. I'd go with Earvin Magic Johnson. That's just me. Freddie G says Hakeem played almost 40 minutes with Thorpe during that stretch, so he was rarely on the bench much. Yeah, true. Clay Pro, Tracy McGrady was more athletic than Michael Jordan, no cap. Prime for prime. What do you guys think? Was Tracy McGrady more athletic than Michael Jordan in his prime? If we put both of them at their primes, T Mac was more athletic than Michael? I'm not going to answer that. That's a tough one right there. That's a tough one. Yeah, he says that's true with 3 guards. That's what Freddie G is saying. Tracy gave MJ that work when he was old. That's a fact because MJ was 39, 40, nearly out of his athletic prime. Still productive out of his prime. And people forget that Michael was a career 32 points per game scorer through 1998. When he came back, his numbers dwindled him down to 30. And people forget he missed 22 games with an injury in 2002. MJ to me is more athletic than Tracy McGrady. That's just me. The things I've seen Michael Jordan do on that court, that's crazy, man. No, the one thing I will agree with you, Clay Pro, and you make a great point, is that Tracy McGrady had a lot of injuries. And I've always said Tracy McGrady, when he was healthy, was one of the more underrated players in the NBA. Very solid, good defender, very good playmaker, and a hell of a scorer. So he was one of the very best all-around players of his time. But a lot of players didn't go at Jordan then because I was watching highlights on the Wizards and players didn't try to snatch his soul like AI did. Okay, maybe we have to see more tapes because there was a lot more competition. I've seen Paul Pierce, I've seen Vince Carter, just to name a couple. When your idols become your rivals, that's true. In the case of Michael Jordan, yeah. Josh, when MJ got poked in the eye and I believe another injury and sat out for a lot of the game and then came back and T-Mac did his thing, but before that, MJ was giving T-Mac the work. Those are facts. You know what people also forget about that 2002 season? In the off season, Ron Artest injured Michael Jordan and broke one of his ribs in a script in when they were practicing together, man. When they went at it 1-on-1. Ron Artest was strong that he injured MJ's ribs entering the 01-02 season. He had a broken rib. Nobody talks about that. I'm telling you, Jordan still had the heart and the will, even at 39, 40 years old, man, even with that older body. Yep. Big facts, Jay. I don't understand how people don't understand that, man. 4 guards. Clyde Drexler was a shooting guard, too. Remember. That's what it is. Yeah, T-Mac really only had height, bro. But if you look at a lot of Jordan's in-game dunks in his career, I mean, this dude had a walk-the-moon dunk in 1987 or 88 against the Detroit Pistons with that dude's head met above the rim. Shit was crazy. That dude was like E.T. walking on air, bro. It was like he was on the moon. It's getting interesting in the chat. Let's see. Olympic jumpers have higher hops than Jordan also. So funny. I remember that game vividly. Michael Jordan was giving him problems. Michael Jordan gave Tracy problems. He gave T-Mac problems. When Jordan sat out was when T-Mac started to kind of go off. It's funny because there was also a time when Paul Pierce was going off and Michael Jordan was put on him and Paul Pierce had a tough time scoring. Same thing with Vince Carter. Same thing with Vince Carter. Like I said, Steve Nash could be the greatest according to low key. That's his. That's and I said, and I'm on record as saying Steve Nash is one of the greatest point guards in NBA history. But when we're talking about impact, when we are talking about greatest of all, greatest point guards at their position, it is Irvin Magic Johnson, and Isaiah Thomas is at number 2 in my book. And I would actually put Steph Curry at number 3 because he has 2 MVPs, won 3 championships, and he changed the game. This dude has literally NBA players and NBA teams shooting from crazy long range now. That's the impact that Steph Curry has put in the game of basketball. It's crazy. Telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely crazy, man. Yep. Yeah, man. There was a thing they were saying how MJ would do against the new school. You actually should watch the interview on with the NBA on NBC. I believe this was around the 2001 NBA Finals, and Ahmad Rashad was actually talking to Michael Jordan, and they were asking him how he would fare against the stars of the 2000s. So you guys could go check that out. Type it in on YouTube and says MJ interview NBA on NBC. I think it was 2001, right before the 2000, right when the Lakers I think were going against the Sixers. I think at that time, or I think it was against the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. I don't remember, but I honestly think that they were telling Jordan and they were interviewing him about the 2000s, defense. Let's see. Clay Pro says T Mac was not a better player than Jordan, but I believe he was more athletic. Please compare the highlight films. What I'm gonna do, Clay Pro, is I'm actually gonna take a comparison of Tracy and Michael when I look like their athletic highlights, and I will actually be the judge of that and see, who was the more athletic player. That's a very interesting thing, interesting topic to talk about. Freddie G says that Curry might be the second greatest point guard. To be honest, no, I'm not putting him above Isaiah Thomas. No. Curry, right now, I have him as the third best point guard in NBA history. Isaiah Thomas and Magic are above him, especially when it comes to high basketball IQ. They're above Steph Curry, and they were both great leaders. Not saying that Curry's not a great leader, because if you look at it, Kevin Durant, the reason why how his offense was much easier to be with on the Golden State Warriors was because of Steph Curry and his sacrifice, allowing KD to be the man on this team. And now you can't double Kevin Durant because he gets a lot more single coverage. Curry's ability to shoot from so deep spreads the floor. Kevin Durant gets more driving lanes and more post ups and more face ups in a more spaced out offense. So Zeke is a legend, yes. Clay Pro says even Kobe said in an interview that T Mac was the hardest player he ever played against. That's true. But we also have to remember, Clay Pro, that T Mac and Kobe were both in their primes when they played. So I can understand Kobe saying that. And when T Mac played Michael Jordan, Jordan was past his prime. Clay Pro says, what do you think about John Stockton? I think he gets disrespected, in my opinion. I was mentioning about all these all-time great teams. I said that the 97 and 98 Jazz would definitely dominate in today's game. And John Stockton is very underrated. And the reason he gets underrated is because of now guys like Steph Curry, Isaiah Thomas, and Magic Johnson. But John Stockton is the all-time assist leader and steals leader. The dude was an all-time great. Gritty, hard-nosed defender. To me, what prevented John Stockton from winning championships, obviously one was Michael Jordan, but number two, he really didn't take the necessary chances like Karl Malone did. Isaiah Thomas always mentioned that about John Stockton all the time, and he mentions it about Chris Paul. Those guys are not risk takers. Isaiah Thomas was. He was willing to take risk. And sometimes when you're trying to win, you got to really take some risk that you're normally not going to do in the regular season. So that really held back. But John Stockton, all-time great point guard. Great. He's a top 5 point guard of all time, in my opinion. Top 5, top 10. So, wherever you want to put John Stockton. But I got Isaiah, Magic, Isaiah, and Curry as my top 3 all-time greatest. But John Stockton, definitely one of the greatest, a real one. Don't like the disrespect he gets, acting like he can't dominate today's game. It's ridiculous. One of the highest and smartest minds in the game of basketball in history. High basketball IQ. It's ridiculous how John Stockton and the Utah Jazz get disrespected out here like if they weren't no damn competition. Yeah, ridiculous. But yet LeBron's 7 of his 9 finals opponents are the same damn team. Yes, some real competition. Freddie G says, I think that Kobe was a more agile athlete than MJ. The way that Kobe could torque his body in midair and his handles was crazy for a 6'6" guard. That's an arguable point. It's arguable. Arguable. Mr. D. Holloway, shout out to you, my man. D. Hardaway too, man. T-Mac can't hold a candle to Penny Hardaway pre-injury. Here's the thing that we got to understand about T-Mac and Penny Hardaway, man. And T-Mac says it on record. Penny Hardaway was his favorite player. Penny Hardaway played with a Shaquille O'Neal. T-Mac did not play with a dominant big other than Yao Ming. And Yao Ming's career was cut short due to injuries as well. Penny Hardaway, I told you, when Shaq missed the first 28 games of the season in 96, his dude was averaging over 30 at an efficient clip. Okay? At a very efficient clip. That's what people fail to understand. He was doing that at a very high efficient clip, ladies and gentlemen. That's what people fail to understand about Penny Hardaway, man. I told you that dude was legit, right? And when I'm talking about that, I'm telling you, pre-injury, this dude made first team All NBA with the top 10 greatest players of all time. A guy who made the 50 greatest players in only his 5th season in Shaquille O'Neal. Crazy, right? So T-Mac may be the better scorer to Penny Hardaway, but Penny Hardaway can prove he could score. He just had to be on a team where he facilitated and was more, in my opinion, more fundamentally sound than T-Mac. I don't think T-Mac holds a candle to Penny Hardaway. And the thing is, you have to understand, Penny Hardaway was injured most of his career and retired early. T-Mac played long enough to where he made 7 All-Star teams. And I'm gonna say it again: Penny Hardaway made first team All NBA with Shaquille O'Neal 2 years in a row. Keep that in mind. And Shaq was the best player and he wasn't even the best player on the team. That's how great Penny was. T-Mac was an animal, no question. But Penny's basketball IQ was off the charts, man. Off the charts. Is James Harden and Russ just regular season players? The answer is very simple. It's yes. Two MVPs, former MVPs, that perform great in the regular season, and their fanboys and their fan base go crazy. And that's no disrespect to them. You know, it's great. They have regular seasons. They keep their teams in the playoffs. I get all that. The issue I have is it doesn't translate to anything in the postseason. Why? Because of how teams can predict their style of play, and the game slows down, and they don't get the same whistles. And like I said, their shot selection and their low basketball IQ. That's why they lose games. That's why I said that it's arguable. Kobe, to me, is not more agile or more athletic than MJ. MJ is more athletic than Kobe. That's a fact. I'm sorry. Okay. He says he says not all around athlete, agile, agility. Kobe has wiggle and craftiness like no other shooting guard. And you don't think Michael had wiggle or craftiness? I don't know about that one, man. Let's see. Jay says James Harden has one gear, hits a wall and hits a wall, and the wall wins. Russ has more gears, but his shooting is his kryptonite. Wow. Jay put it pretty excellent right there. Can't lie. Big facts. But even agile Kobe is not more agile than MJ. I definitely agree with that. There's a reason why Jordan is called the Black Cat. Yo, just take a look at Jordan at 34 years old and tell me who's faster, him or Kobe. Damn, some people would actually feel different about Kobe. They feel like Kobe had to work so hard when it comes to gifted athlete. They look at Kobe and they say how he's a poor man's Jordan. He has smaller hands, low basketball IQ, not as athletic. People feel different about Kobe Bryant when it comes to athleticism and how he was of his agility and his people really underrate Kobe's speed. Kobe in when we talking about Froby, number 8 Froby, Afro Kobe, Froby, that dude was his stamina, he was fast. People don't understand how fast Kobe was. He was fast. People don't really understand that, man. But that dude was hella quick, bro. Hella quick. It's amazing to me how dudes do that, man. Mr. D Holloway, too. Let me see what you're saying, bro. He says MJ was more athletic than Kobe and T-Mac. MJ on record running a 4.3 and 40 and a 40-yard dash with 2 or 3 highest verticals of 48. People only remember late 90s fadeaway MJ. That's a fact. D Holloway, thank you, sir. I've been saying it. MJ ran a 4.3 and he has a 48-inch vertical. They was comparing LeBron like crazy. LeBron ran a 4.4 and he has a 44-inch vertical. Jordan had 48-inch vertical with a 4.3. That's how athletic, and if you want to say agile, Michael Jordan was. It's crazy to me. Crazy. My man Buki Allen, one of my favorite subs, one of my supporters, man. I hope you're sharing my videos. I appreciate you, man. He says Grant Hill was a monster pre-injury. That's a fact. Big facts. I definitely agree. I agree with that one, Buki. That's big facts. Grant Hill was LeBron James before LeBron James, to be honest. He was one of the true point forwards of his time. And as Joshua, I agree with him. Those are facts. From what D Holloway was talking about. Deion Primetime Sanders. Your boy, man. Your boy. Bro, he would be one of the first to tell you that MJ, I believe on the NFL Network, and I was watching it the other day, Deion talked about how he talked about Michael's vertical. He told him, and he talked about how he ran a 4.3. He told him. He told people this. Oh my goodness. Freddie G, got to do your research, bro. He ran a 4.3. Some Muggsy Bogues, yo, you wilding with that one, bro. Omar Page, Derrick Rose was also a monster pre-injury. Yo, just look at that 2011 season, man. That alone will tell you what kind of monster he was. Youngest MVP in NBA history at 22 years old. And people capping that LeBron deserved it over him. BS. Kobe was athletic, but I don't think he was more agile than MJ. Josh, I agree with you. I don't think he was more agile than MJ. Like I said, there's a reason why they call MJ the Black Cat, man. Jordan and T-Mac had one huge advantage over Kobe, hand size, because T-Mac could palm the ball. Kobe has small hands. Palming the ball. T-Mac's height gave people problems too. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I agree with that. T-Mac was a matchup nightmare, especially when he was on. When he was on, T-Mac was a matchup problem. Those are big facts. Deion Sanders, as Josh says, could have been what MJ had been had he played football. Agreed. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to stop the stream. I want to thank everybody for taking the opportunity. Well, before I do, Mr. D. Holloway, I got to read your comment real quick. The most athletic NBA player was Wilt Chamberlain. That's right. Wilt Chamberlain played many sports. So he's arguably the greatest athlete in NBA history. I would actually put him as the greatest athlete if we really want to go there. Um, yeah, athletically, I agree, Josh. Well, maybe that was Chapel Hill, but we got to see. I don't know where that 4-3 is coming from. I guess it improved to 4-3. We don't know though. So, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm going to stop the live stream. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys are sharing the videos, you know, in all the social networks. Like I said, you know, I'm going to, for those of you who want to follow me on Instagram, because I do have an Instagram account, this is the Instagram I'm going to type. I'm going to type it in the comment section, and you guys go follow me on there. So there is my Instagram right there. I'm going to post it. I also have Snapchat also. So if you want to follow me on Snapchat as well, Snapchat I believe is what was it? It's you could just type in Luigi and you will see it in. So Snapchat will be Luigi, and then it'll show the CP Swag Lou. So you'll be able to find it. And that's my Snapchat. You just type it in and you just look for me. But once again, yo, I'm gonna end the stream. I appreciate you guys. You already know the deal, man. This was fun, and I'm gonna continue to do more of these live streams. You guys should give me let me know before I leave in the comment section when you guys comment. Let me know what kind of live streams you would love for me to do, and I would be more than happy to like oblige as to what you know streams you would want me to do. Like if you can't put it right here in the comments right here on the live chat, um, let me know in the comment section. You know, after I end the broadcast in the video, let me know. And I will like look to it into the future, man. I would love to do a like I said, a LeBron versus Larry Bird. I would do a Kobe versus Michael. I would do a LeBron versus Kobe. And to be honest with you, LeBron versus Kobe is really the more comparable. Because if we want to be really honest, Kobe's only compared to Michael Jordan in play style. But if we want to look at careers, neither Kobe nor LeBron are comparable to MJ. Neither one of them. That's really to be honest. But you know, like I said, once again, let me know in the live stream. You know, what would you want me to do for future videos? Let me know in the comment section. Uh, so as always, man, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful night. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys are liking the video, sharing the videos. I'm gonna keep providing the content, and I'm gonna still be doing the little small sample size videos as I always. I might even do a video tonight. I just got to see what it's gonna be. But like I said, let me know, and just keep sharing, man. Share it on your Instagram, share it on your Snapchat, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter. Like I said, share it with your friends. Let dudes know about the channel. Once again, man, I appreciate you, man. This is once again your boy Lewis Basketball Network with another one. Have a wonderful Monday night. I will see you guys on the next one. Bless up, live, last, love, peace. Thank you, man, for the video. Thank you for chatting with me, man. I appreciate y'all. And thank you, Mr. D. Holloway. Great work. All of you guys in the chat did great work, man, with the comments, man. I truly appreciate it, man. So once again, deuces, man. Enjoy your nights, guys. All right. Good night.